Friends, followers, all the like. I just wanted to shoot a quick video tonight because I was having a conversation earlier, and the people that were listening to it were a little bit captivated by it. And it's a story that I've told a couple of times, here and there, and in passing, with people who feel like they're stuck in a particular situation or environment. So, kind of before we jump into like the real tactical of what I want to talk about, what I'd like to jump to first is my goal and vision and where I am in that. So I started like my first job when I got out of school. Like I started in golf course maintenance and working, like I raked bunkers and picked weeds and all that crap, mowed, and got into kind of the hospitality industry. Um, and where I'm like to go is eventually doing consulting or um, managing my own small startup or something like that. So I kind of want to go through the steps of how I've gotten to where I am, and then how I'm going to try and go past that. So, and the reason that I bring this up is because a lot of people feel like they're stuck in the environment they're in, and there's a lot of complaining out there. There's a lot of people complaining about being stuck in the service industry or hospitality or as a mechanic or whatever it is, and the common excuses are, oh, I didn't have the right schooling, I grew up in the wrong time, my family was bad. And I'd like to say that none of that really matters. So, and if you saw my post earlier on the page, you saw that I posted, you can always change your circumstance, it just takes work. It's kind of a story of that. So, let's go back to when I was working as a golf course maintenance person. So like I said, like hours, it was like 4:30 in the morning, super early. You go out and you sprinkle manure on the greens and you pick weeds out of bunkers. And I don't know if those of you out there have really worked in the hospitality industry or just that environment in general, but everyone's using and abusing substances, and it's a terrible, terrible environment to try and grow as a person and professionally in. So I did that for 3 or 4 years, and just like everybody else in that industry, I partied when I wasn't working, and you don't go anywhere. And if that's and teach their own. If you're all about the parties in life, then stick with that and be in the hospitality industry because that is the life that you will have. You will work your shifts, you'll make your money, and you'll spend it all on alcohol and drugs and party, and that's what you'll do. So, again, if those are your goals, stay where you're at. You're golden. But if you have greater aspirations than that, and you feel stuck in that environment, and you look at the people around you and you don't consider them friends, and that's not where you want to be, that's where I ended up being in that particular industry. So what I did, I decided I wanted to be in sales. I was like, God, there's got to be anything's better than this. I have a natural way with people. I seem to be able to get them to listen to me and buy things from me. So I want to try sales out. So I went and I got a job at Kohl's. Like, whoop-de-doo. The pay wasn't much better, but for me, it wasn't about the pay. It was about the resume build. It was about the experience. It was about making a lateral movement so that I could have more upward mobility in a new field versus the one that I was currently in. So I went to Kohl's and I worked my butt off. I did everything I could. I learned how to unload the truck. I learned how to run the register. I worked in shoes. I worked in housewares. I did everything that was asked of me, and then when I had spare time, I went and learned how to do other people's jobs. So eventually I got to the point where whenever I was in the store, I could do anything, and then I could get as many shifts as possible, and I spent my time when I could interacting with customers and trying to get them to buy goods in the store. Now, I wasn't commission based, so I wasn't required to do this, and I got the same level of pay no matter whether I sold 300 pairs of shoes or one. They didn't care. It wasn't structured that way. But for me, it was about getting people to say yes to something. And the more that I could do that, the more experience build that I had. And like that's not really something you can put on a resume. It's something you can talk about in an interview. So, you can kind of use it there. But for me, again, it was just about the interaction with the people and trying to make the sale. So I did that for about 2.5 years. And and eventually it got to the point where it's like, okay, there's no upward mobility here. I got a 14-cent raise the first year I was there. I got a 22-cent raise. I think the second year I was there was basically like, you know what, you guys keep the money. You need it more than I do. And I started looking for another job. And I found one, and I, at the time, started working two jobs because I just purchased a house. Or didn't purchase a house, I was renting at the time. And my rent and utilities were about $1,000 a month. And I was the only bill payer. So I was single rent on minimum wage, two jobs. Minimum wage, two jobs, and could barely afford to keep the lights on and pay the rent. And I think I had a bag of rice, and that's what I ate every single day. I still like the rest of this day, which you wouldn't think, but I grew an appreciation for it because it's all that I had, but it was enough to keep me going. And I just kind of, like, whenever there was free food and break rooms and stuff, would just kind of pick and eat whatever I could find. So I did that. I got another job and I started selling wine. I was able to use my experience at Kohl's to show that I had enough sales experience to work as a merchandiser for a wine company. So I stocked shelves and carried and moved around pallets and did resets and all that crap for about a year and a half, and built my wine knowledge up a little bit, and to where I got my own tiny little sales route. So then I was able to actually go into stores and sell the wine and create more work for myself to merchandise that product. But again, the whole idea was to move into a position where now I'm not working for a corporation making sales. I'm commission based and a little bit freelance, selling into mom and pops as well as big stores like Walmart, Meijer, that type of thing, and then building a reputation and a lot more public speaking and sales to higher end clients, and working that interaction and seeing what the differences were between like blue collar sales in a Kohl's versus white collar wine sales to high end clients that own yachts and those types of things, and seeing what the differences are there. So getting the experience from both low end retail and kind of high end, more high ticket items. And there's obviously some overlap in audience and demographic between the two, but that's neither here nor there. But the whole idea was, over that 4 or 5 years that I worked in sales, made the lateral movement and kind of just gutted it out in lieu of going to college or anything, and just getting the experience so I could transition into the company that I'm currently with now, which is Sunfrog.com. It's one of the fastest growing startups that I know of. Their Alexa rating is shot from, well, I mean, who cares about Alexa rating? I won't go into that here because I don't know how many people know what Alexa is or even care. But basically, I started a company of 30 people a couple of years ago, which is now at 300. So very rapid growth. And I was able to come into that company, and they were actually willing to give me a position to create around myself because of that experience and that reputation that I built coming up through that sales, the climb of sales experience that I had. So that's where I currently am now. And what I've done, and what I'd like to address now that we've reached this point in the story, is to go ahead and maybe help another demographic of people who are seeing a lot of hardship right now, and that's salespeople in general. So I am, for part of my job, I'm in a lot of different groups, a lot of different boards with people who sell cars, who sell homes, who sell insurance, who sell whatever it is. And there's old school and versus new school. And what I've learned at Sunfrog is new school sales, so I was very lucky to come into a company that shows new school sales versus kind of the old school mentality mindset of boots on the ground, person-to-person relational sales. So both work and both are needed, but what I see from a lot of salespeople is complaining about how the job is becoming obsolete and that the world won't need salespeople because of the internet. Well, I'm here to tell you, you're absolutely right, and if you're not learning how to sell online, you're an idiot. So figure it out. But the good news is, I would like to help those of you that aren't familiar with internet sales. So, I actually at Sunfrog was the affiliate manager. Still work with the affiliates, but now on the business development team, looking at bringing in new clients rather than necessarily supporting the ones that we have. So and working with them on optimization and those types of things. So what I've become really good at in the last 2.5 years, and maybe you're seeing a trend here, it takes me about 2 years to learn the industry or the position or company that I'm with. I spent about 2 years with this company researching how to buy Facebook ads, because that is what our affiliates are doing, and I figured if I'm going to serve my client, I need to figure out what they're doing on the internet. So I spent as much time as I could watching webinars and reading free Facebook courses and running my own ads and going to traffic and conversion events and social media events and talking with marketers and getting on phone calls with our sellers and everything I could do to figure out exactly what they're doing online to make money. So what I can tell you is that the actual sales process is not different. The targeting and the techniques you use to reach the initial top of the sales funnel lead is just different. And rather than using radio and TV and flyers and those types of things, you're using Facebook ads. And the cool thing is that word of mouth, which is where a lot of you people probably get your referrals and sales, is actually stronger on social media than it is with what you're currently doing now. So my advice to you, and what I'd like to show you how to do, is figure out who your audience is, find a place that allows you to sell the things you're selling online, and then learn how to buy Facebook ads and outsell your manager, company, whatever, so that you don't need to rely on that job anymore. Like, you can go and do so much better online selling cars or wine or books or shoes or whatever the heck it is you sell at the company you're at now. You can go sell so much more of it online for so much cheaper engagement that, and it doesn't require a brick and mortar operation. So like, the overhead, the level of buy-in to start your own business is so much smaller than when the guy you're working for opened his current car dealership. Because guess what? You don't need cars or a dealership. You just need to be able to send people to a place where they can buy that thing. So what I'd like to do in future content is show you how to target, purchase, and convert on ads so that you don't need to rely on that situation. So I'm currently transitioning through. I kind of shared with you how you get out of like kind of dead end hospitality and work your way into sales. Now that I'm trying to transition out of sales and into startup or consulting or those types of things, what I'd like to do is try and take some of the salespeople, whether you're online or brick and mortar, with me on my way up. So I'd be happy for any of you that would watch my content and are willing to learn. I'll be more than happy to help you, as I'm kind of trying to move my way out of this as well. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be probably doing one of those videos tomorrow for you. So and we're actually putting together a whole ecom course that I'll probably drip feed in with this audience as well. And that's the basic idea, and one of the real takeaways that I want for people of this group is I would like to not only share my experience and the journey that I'm on, but I'd also like to leverage my skill set to help anybody that I can maybe take the next step, take it to the next level, level up, as I've named the live chat. So if you're running your own small business, or if you are just trying to find an alternative revenue source, or whatever it is, if in some way I can help you, I would like to do that, because I feel like there's enough of us out there that are successful doing the things that we're doing, and if we all help each other, we can kind of all help the global economy and community. So that's kind of what I'm aiming to do here. So I hope this was maybe useful for some of you out there, and kind of maybe adjust a few mindsets for those of you feeling stuck. And the honest answer is, if you don't like the circumstances or environment that you're in, then change it. And if you really actually mean that you want to change it, then put the work in, because it is possible and you can do it. So thanks so much, guys, for hanging out with me for a little bit. I got some other work that I would need to get done before I go to bed. But this will be going live, and then we'll be doing the training on targeting and running ads starting tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. So again, thank you, and good night.